The origins of the legend of chess in the Arab-Persian world. The Indian legend, the sage Sisa ibn Dahir. Although no definitive historical records exist, a legend passed down in both India and Persia tells of a man named Sisa ibn Dahir, known in some Sanskrit sources as Sasa. According to the tale, Sisa was an Indian sage who invented the game Chaturanga, the ancestor of chess, to present to a king of the Gupta dynasty, often identified in some versions as King Balhate or Balhita. Sisa designed the game to teach the king an important moral lesson. On the field of life, every piece has value. Whether king or foot soldier, none can win the war without the other. The king, pleased with the invention, asked Sisa what reward he desired. Sisa modestly replied, "Grant me only 1 grain of rice on the first square of the board, then double it on each subsequent square until the 64th. The king laughed, thinking the request trivial, but when the court mathematicians calculated the total, the amount of rice required far exceeded the wealth of the entire kingdom. Thus arose the famous legend of the chessboard and the rice grains, a story illustrating the power of systematic thought and what mathematics now calls exponential growth. The name Sisa ibn Dahir appears in medieval Arabic sources, most notably in the work of historian Ibn Khaldun, in his chronicle Wafat al-Ayn Wanb-Abn, Azam, Deaths of Eminent Men and the History of the Sons of the Age. Ibn Khaldun wrote that chess was introduced from India and that a sage named Sisa ben Dahir, also written Sasa, Sessa, or Siesa, invented it for an Indian king as a means of teaching moral and political wisdom. In this 13th century text, Ibn Khaldun records that Sisa created the game to show the ruler that even the humblest person has value in the grand plan of life, and no victory is possible without the strength of the small. This reflects the deep Indian concept of the Dharma of statecraft, that a true ruler must recognize the worth of every life within the realm, not merely the power of his own throne. Transmission through Persia and Islam. The game later spread into Persia, where it became known as Shatranj. The Persian term Esha with Makran H Ma with Makran T, the king is helpless, eventually evolved into the English word checkmate. Although its rules and pieces were modified over centuries, the foundational structure of chess remained distinctly Indian. The story of the rice reward. The most widely known version of the tale emerged in medieval Europe, translated from Arabic sources. In this version, when Sisa presented chess to the king, called Balhate or sometimes Shiran, a name likely derived from an ancient Indian ruler, the delighted monarch asked what reward he wished. Sisa requested only 1 grain of rice on the first square, 2 on the second, and so on, doubling with each square until the 64th. The king laughed at the simplicity of the request, but when calculated, the total reached 18,446,744,709,551,615 grains of rice, an amount greater than all the rice the kingdom could produce in thousands of years. Realizing the magnitude of the request, the king declared, "You have taught me that small things, when compounded, can hold power beyond imagination." This parable became known in mathematics as the wheat and chessboard problem, a classic illustration of exponential growth, philosophical and cultural interpretation. In Indian culture, Chaturanga was never merely a game of war strategy. It embodied the Dharma of leadership and the interdependence of all beings. Thus, even if the historical Sisa cannot be confirmed, his legend conveys a profound message. He who understands the moves of the game understands life itself. In the allegory, the king symbolizes the ego, Sisa represents wisdom, and the rice grains signify truths that begin small but grow into vast insight. The symbolic meaning of the inventor. Regardless of who the actual inventor was, what matters most is that chess stands as a creation of human intellect and spirit, a fusion of strategy, mindfulness, concentration, and reason. It descends from the Indian philosophical view that true victory lies not in conquering others, but in understanding oneself. Chess, the mirror of human intelligence. From ancient Chaturanga to digital chess in the 21st century, the game has traveled far beyond geography. It has journeyed through the realms of thought and wisdom. Chess teaches us that every decision carries consequences, every sacrifice holds meaning, and that the greatest triumph is not domination but self-understanding. Chess is a mirror of the human mind every square. Every piece, every move reflects the pattern of life itself.